Hello everyone, Gaza Mutkash, and I welcome you all to this session on Introduction to Excel Power Query. So guys, let's have a look at the agenda for this session. The agenda for this session includes, first of all, we'll be transforming the columns, as in essentially we'll be loading the data first, then we'll be implementing the different data transformations. Then we'll be also understanding the concept of filtering and splitting columns when it comes to Power Query. So guys, till the previous session, we have seen how to load and combine data into the Power Query. So let's get started with the agenda of transforming, filtering and splitting in Power Query. So let's switch to the Excel window. So guys, over here we are in the Excel window, and the data set that we'll be using over here is, so over here I've clicked on data, and then over here I'll be clicking on get data. And from the file, so what is my data source? So see, we have different options we can combine from. We have different options we can choose to have the data from, right? So I can choose it from the file, all right, from the workbook, from text/CSV, from XML, JSON, PDF, from folder, from SharePoint. Then we can also choose it from the database, from Azure, from online services. So over here I'm going from file, and in the file option over here, let's say I'll be going from text/CSV. So we do have four tables that will be loading first, and then we'll be looking at the transformation, right? So the first table that we have is the events. So guys, this is the events table that we have. This is the events table that we have. Let's click on load. So we'll be loading the four different tables. Next, I'll be clicking on data again, and next I'll be loading the next table, which is the attendees. And next, let's say I'll be loading the file, feedbacks, and then the registrations. So guys, these are the three tables, and next I need to load the registrations. So guys, these are the four tables that we have. We have events, then we have attendees, and the feedbacks and the registrations, right? So let's switch to the Power Query. So how can we switch to the Power Query? So over here, we can go to data, and then in the get data over here, we do have an option from launch Power Query editor. All right, so guys, this is what we have over here. We are in the Power Query editor. So first we'll be understanding the data, right? First we have to understand the data, and then we'll be proceeding with the transformations, the filtering, and let's say the splitting. So the first table that we have is the events table. So in the event table, we have the event ID, then we have the title, then we have the date, then we have the location, then we have the organizer ID, and these are the columns that we have, right? Then we have the organizer ID. So in Power Query, we do get to see that for each and every column, we get to see whether what is the percentage of records that are valid, percentage of records that contain error, and percentage of empty, right? Again, over here I need to see valid, error and empty, valid, error and empty, right? So I can see this in all the columns. So how are we getting this option? So this option is enabled during using view and then column quality. So if I remove this, so I don't get to see the column quality, but not in all the columns will have 100% valid column quality. So that is something that we can check upon as far as the transformation is concerned. So let's have a look. This is the event ID, title, date, location, and then the organizer ID. All right, so the valid seems to be 100%. There doesn't seem to be any let's say transformation needed as far as let's say data cleaning is concerned. Next we can go to the attendees table. So over here the attendee ID, let's say the valid is 100%, then the attendee name, then we have the registered date, and then we have the participation level, right? So clearly in participation level we do have null values, and let's say in registered date, okay, we don't have null values, but clearly we do have empty values in the participation level. So this is one thing that we can work upon, that we have to proceed with the cleaning. And then in the events table and in the attendees table, right, we do have the event ID, we do have the event ID and the organizer ID, right? We do have the event ID on the organizer ID. And as far as the attendee table is concerned, over here we do have the attendee ID, right? We do have the attendee ID. Next, we have the feedbacks table where we do have the event ID, the attendee ID, the rating, and the comments. So again, the events and feedbacks tables can be connected based on the event ID and the attendee ID. So attendee ID from the feedbacks table, right? So for each event, for all the participating attendee IDs, attendees, we do have their IDs and unki ratings and how much they have rated for. And again, as you can see, let's say the comments and the ratings do contain some null values as well, right? They do contain some null values. Then we do have the registrations where I'm having the event ID, the attendee ID, the registration time, and the registration amount. So this is where, let's say, the pricing details are mentioned, right? So again, over here, the event ID and the attendee ID can be used to combine the event ID, let's say used to combine with the other tables. Some event ID, let's say from the registrations table can be used to combine it with the events table ka event ID, right? Because these over here we do have the common columns. And then as far as the registrations is concerned, so for each event we do have the attendee ID. So using this attendee ID from the registration table, we can combine it with the attendees table attendee ID. So that is the common column that is connecting these two tables. So let's proceed with the transformation. So having understood the data, right? So clearly we have seen we don't need to apply any sort of transformation as far as let's say the events table is concerned. Means we can proceed with splitting maybe the event ID or even splitting the title, or maybe let's say we can apply splitting on the date as well, right? So over here we have the location and the organizer ID. So let's first clean the data. So in the attendees table over here, if we have a look, see the participation level contains 2% null values. Clearly we don't have any values over here, right? We don't have any values over here. So in case we do have empty values, clearly we get to see the empty values over here. So what can be done? And see over here, if I click on this, so besides what are the different plans, what are the different participation levels? So we can have basic participation level, then the diamond, then the gold, the platinum, and the silver, and then there is blank as well. So I'm only concentrating on blank right now. Let's see how many blank records do we have. So we have 6 blank records, right? We have 6 blank records that we do get to see over here. So there are two options. Either I can delete these rows. I can delete these rows. So currently I've applied the filtering. So we'll come to the filtering part. But before that, let's say if I were to handle the blank, so maybe I can replace it with some value that is already mode. All right. So maybe we can replace the participation level with the mode of this column. So how can that be done? So maybe I can go to home. And then from the participation level, first of all, I'll group it by. So I want to count what is the count of each participation level, right? So let's click on group by. So first of all, I'll be clicking on the participation level and then I can click on the group by. So once I've clicked on group by, so this is the participation level and this is, let's say the column name would be, this is the participation level count. All right, over here we do have the participation level count, and what do I need to count? I need to simply count the rows and then the column. Okay. So guys, this is what we are getting. So clearly if I were to sort this, so clearly we can see that the basic level of participation is at the highest. So maybe we can replace the blank with basic. All right, because the basic is the highest. So I can undo this. Next, I can even undo this, and in the participation level column, right, what can be done? We can simply replace the values. So just right click over here and we do have this option of replace values. This option is also present over here even in the home ribbon, right? Even in the home ribbon this option is available. So just click on participation level and replace values. So what do I need to replace? Blank with basic. So now the count of basic will increase it. Previously it was 71, so it will be increased from 71 to 71 plus 6. So now all the blank values have been handled, right? So next, if I were to check the count over here, if I were to check the count, so I'll click on participation level and then group by. Over here I can check the count. So what is the count for the participation level? The count that I'm getting over here is 77. Why 77? Because there were 6 blank values and the count of basic was 71. So 71 plus 6 is becomes 77, right? So this is how, let's say, now we can clean the data. This is how the transformation works. So the attendees table, we have applied the transformation. Next, we do have the feedbacks table. We do have some null values even in the feedback table, right? So let's say I want to get rid of all the null values that are present in the rating column. All right, I want to get rid of all the null values present in the rating column, or maybe I want to get rid of all the null values present in the comments, right? So there are less than 1% of empty values. So what are the different comments? We have boring, eye opener, must attend, nice, time based, and time well spent. So we do have this blank option. So let's see how we can get rid of the blank option. So maybe we can click on remove rows. First we have to click on the comments column, and then we can click on remove rows and remove blank rows, right? So it will simply get rid of the blank rows. So all the blank rows have been removed. Let's see this. Okay, remove blank rows in the comments. See, I can remove this column. So if I click on remove blank rows. All right, so currently it's not having an effect. So maybe most likely we can replace this, right? We can replace this. So let's get rid of this option. Let's proceed with replacement. So what can be done? First of all, again, maybe we can fill it with other, right? So let's say comments, so maybe not mentioned or any, we can fill something like this. So what can be done? So I can simply click on right click replace, right click replace, and then what do I need to replace it with? So maybe the value to find that I can find over here is null, right? I can find the value empty and I'm replacing it with none. So there were no comments or none. So now all the let's say empty values are filled with none. So now there is 0% null values. But when it comes to the rating column over here, I cannot fill it with none. I cannot fill it with the mode because this is entirely continuous data, right? So when we talk about continuous data and when we have to apply the transformations, we cannot replace it. Essentially, we do not replace it with mode. So what is the other option that we are left with? So what can be done over here? We can click over here, and then once we have clicked over here, see, we do have null values, right? So if we check, see, we do have some null values. So how to handle null in let's say the rating kind of columns? So what can be done? Maybe we can replace null with mean or median. So how to compute mean or median? Let's go to transform. So we'll click on the rating, and then we can click on statistics, and then we can click on let's say average. So what is the average rating? The average rating is 2.975, right? The average rating that we have over here is 2.975. So if this is my average rating, let's click on let's say 2.975. So we'll have to manually replace this. So maybe I can click on rating and then right click, replace values, right? So over here we do have the option of replace values, and in the replace values I need to replace null. See, how is the null present? Null, is it present as a string or is it present as a null value? So this is present as a null value. Clearly we can see this is a null value, not a null string. Why? Because the null is in italics. Had this been a null value, so it would not have been mentioned in italics, right? This is how we can figure out the difference between null string and null value. So we have to replace the null with 2.975. That has been the objective. So maybe I can right click, and then let's see, we can simply click on replace values, and then over here I can write null and replace it with 2.975. So now all the null values are replaced in the rating column as well. So even this table is handled. Next we have the registrations tables. So in the registration table we do have the event ID, then the attendee ID, then the registration time, and then the registration amount. So does this need any cleaning? So 0% error and empty in all the four columns. So this does not require any cleaning. Now we'll proceed with the transformation. So what other transformations can be applied, right? So let's say based on the date column, right? Based on the date column, if I were to extract maybe year, month, and date. So what is the procedure? How can I extract this? So this is, let's say, let's call it okay. In the registration table, we do have the registration amount, and this is the event date, right? So first let me rename this as the event date. So from the event date, I want to analyze the event year. I want to find out the event month and the event date, right? So just click on event date, and then maybe I can click on add column. And from the add column, what can be done? Over here, I do have this date feature, right? So in the add column, if I click on event date and then if I click on the date, so I can extract anything related to date time. It comes with all sorts of denominations starting from year, let's say year, quarter, month, day, and whatnot. So from the event date, maybe I can go to year and then I can extract year. So as you can see, this is the year which has been extracted. So I'll call it the event year. So the corresponding event year has been extracted successfully. Next, again, I'll go to the event date. Next, I'm going to the date, and this time I'm extracting the month. All right. So this is going to be the event month. This is going to be the event month, right? This is the event date, and next I've extracted the event month. So what are the different event months? So we do have only 2 months, 6 and 5. All right, 6 and 5. For 2 months we have the event date. And what are the different dates on which, let's say, the event is scheduled? So over here again I can go to date and I can click on day. So guys, these are the kind of transformations, let's say, that can be applied. So this is the event day, right? So day can vary from 1 to 31. So when it comes to days, it can vary from 1 to 31. So these are the different days on which, let's say, the event has been scheduled. So this is one option. Next, can we apply splitting? Yes, splitting can also be applied. So maybe I want to know the title. All right, so I want to know the event number. So from this event title, can I split it based on the event and the event number? Yes, that can be done. So how do I extract the event number from the title? So I'll have to apply the splitting. So how can we apply splitting? So clearly the event, let's say event keyword and the event number are separated with underscore, right? Event and the event keyword are separated with underscore. So how do I handle this? So maybe I can go to home, and then maybe let's say I can click on splitting. So if I click on splitting, so clearly we do have different options. I can split it by delimiter. I can split it by the number of characters, by positions, by lowercase to uppercase, by uppercase to lowercase, digit to non-digit, and by non-digit to digit. So currently I'll go with by delimiter. And by delimiter over here, the delimiter that I'll be using over here is underscore, right? I'll be using the underscore. It has automatically identified, or we can select any let's say delimiter from here, colon, comma, equal, semicolon, space. So let's say currently I'm going with underscore. So over here I've selected underscore, and then I can click on OK. So guys, clearly as you can see, this is the event title and the title too. So because I've applied this let's say from the home ribbon, so let's call it the event title, and this being the event number. All right, so clearly this is how we have let's say we can split the event title and the event number, right? Likewise, splitting can also be applied on the date. It can also be applied on the date field, maybe again based on let's say the delimiter, we can split it. Now, can we apply filtering? Yes, filtering can also be applied. Suppose I want to only see the records, all the events I'm only concentrated on let's say all the events that are scheduled in a particular city. So maybe I'm only concentrated on Delhi and Mumbai, right? Events in Delhi and Mumbai only. So guys, this is the data. We have 3 records for Delhi, and we have, let's say, 5 records for Mumbai. So maybe this Delhi and Mumbai filtering part, right? This can be done in a separate table. So what I'll do, I'll right click on the events table, right? Over here I can right click, and once I've right clicked, then I can click on duplicate, and over here I'll be writing, I'll simply rename it as events Delhi Mumbai. Over here I'll be writing events Delhi and Mumbai, right? So in the location column that we have over here we do have the location column, right? I can simply filter this. So I'm only concentrated on Delhi and Mumbai, so the rest can be ignored. So guys, as you can see, these are the events from Delhi and Mumbai. Likewise, maybe I want to store separate tables for separate events, right? For each event, maybe we want, let's say, okay, currently, let's say instead of Delhi, Mumbai, I'm only concentrated on Delhi. So these are the events only from Delhi, right? So let me rename this. These are events from Delhi. Likewise, I can duplicate this. Duplicate. Next, I want only the events from Mumbai. And let's rename this as Delhi. So if this is Mumbai, I can simply, let's say, select the location as, over here I can select the location as Mumbai. Alright, so guys, this is what we have for Mumbai. Next, again I can click on events, and then I can duplicate this, and I'll call this events. So Delhi, Mumbai, and maybe Pune. So this is the last filtering that I'm applying over here. Likewise, let's say the same can be applied on other columns as well. So these are the events from Pune. These are the events that we have from the Pune, right? So this is what we have. So these are events from Delhi, these are events from Mumbai, and these are events from Pune. Next, again, we can go to the events table. So far, we have concentrated on events table, where we have seen how to apply the transformations. We have seen how to apply the filtering and the splitting. The same can be replicated to other tables. So even for attendees, see, we do have the participation level, right? So maybe I want to filter it out based on the participation level. So attendees, let's say all the attendees that are basic. So I'll duplicate it, and I'll call this attendees basic, because there are 5 categories, so I can filter them on this logic, right? So what are the attendees in the basic level of participation? So I'll simply filter out the basics and exclude the remaining. So see, we have somewhere around, we have 77 records for basic, right? So these are the basic attendees, then maybe gold attendees or silver attendees. So I'll simply rename it, and I'll filter it based on the silver. So these are the silver level attendees. All right, so guys, this is how we can let's say generate this transformation. So the basic and silver, and maybe one more I can do attendees, and I can switch it this to gold. So I'll duplicate this and I'll call this attendees gold. So guys, this is what we have. This is how, let's say, I can apply let's say filtering to the different attendees that we have, right? Next, so this is how, let's say, we have the attendees. We have filtered the attendees. Now let's apply, we have seen how to apply filtering, how to apply the let's say transformation, we have seen how to apply the splitting. Next, let's see a couple of other operations that can be done. Suppose I want what is the count of participation level for each of these, what is the count, overall count of the participation level, right? So maybe I can just duplicate this. Over here I'll be duplicating this and I'll call this participation count. And in the participation count, what am I going to do? Just click on participation level, click on group by, and I simply need its count. So let's call this participation level. This would be participation level count. So what is the count that we have? And over here we have the participation level, then the participation level count rows. Let's click on OK. So guys, for gold we have 61 records, for silver 49, for basic 77, for diamond 67, and for platinum we have 46. So guys, these are the different let's say participation level and the participation level count. All right, so this is another kind of transformation. This is kind of summarization that we have done, right? So likewise, it can also be implemented for other tables. So over here we do have the registrations. We do have the registrations, and then we have the registration amount. So based on the registration amount, let's say we can create certain levels. So let's see what is the minimum to maximum registration amount. The minimum is 1200 and the maximum is 7500, right? So these are the 5 values that we have. So this is entirely based on the participation level. This is based on the participation level that we have over here, because for each kind of participation level there is a separate amount. So amount data is there in the registration, right? So for each participation level there is a separate registration amount. Then we do have the feedbacks. So I want to know, this was the participation level count. So I want now I want to know what is the feedback count, right? What is the feedback count that we have? So maybe we can go to the feedbacks, and then maybe what are the different comments that we are getting, right? What are the different types of comments? So click on comment, and then maybe we can click on group by, and over here we can write let's say comments count. So this is comments and comments count, comment rows. Let's click on OK. So guys, let's say 34% or 34 participants have called it, let's say have commented it must attend. 41 have commented time well spent, 35 have commented nice, 33 have commented eye opener, 36 have commented time waste, 34 have commented boring, and 2 have commented none. So this is essentially okay. So I think I've applied this on the original table. So let's undo this. So we'll have to, let's say, duplicate this and then apply. So this is simply, let's say, feedback count. So as far as this feedback count is concerned, just click on comment group by, and this is comments count, or let's call this feedback count, and OK. So guys, this is the data that we are getting. So we have seen the events, we have computed certain, we have applied certain operations on events, then we have seen the attendees, we have applied couple of operations on the attendees, then let's say we have checked for the feedback as well, and then we have the registrations where we do have the corresponding amount, right? So in the previous session we have seen how to combine the table. So let's try to combine the events and the feedback. So we do have the event and then the feedback, right? Let's try to combine events and the feedback. So this is the event table. Maybe I can click on the merge queries, and in the merge queries, not this, but I'll be clicking on let's say merge queries as new. So over here we do have the events, then we do have the, let's say, feedback. So events and feedback, I need to combine it based on the event ID. So I'm combining the events and feedback based on the event ID, and I'll be combining it with the inner join concept. So over here I'm using the inner join concept, and then I'm clicking on OK. So guys, we are getting all the records from both the tables. Over here we have the event ID, event title, event number, event date, then the location, then the organizer ID, event year, event month, event date. And then for the feedback, over here we do get to see the table. So maybe I can expand it. To expand it, what can be done? I just have to simply click over here. And if I click over here, I can expand it with these columns, right? So now this is the complete expansion of the details. Over here I'm getting the event ID, the attendee ID, the feedback rating, and then the comments. So this is how, let's say this is merge one, where we have combined events and feedbacks. Events and the feedback. So this is one particular, these are the two tables that we have combined. Likewise, we can combine even attendees and the registrations. Attendees and the registration, where we do have the attendee ID, right? So just again go to merge queries and merge queries as new. So the first table is attendee, where I'm selecting the attendee ID and then the registrations. So in the registrations table, again I'll be clicking on the attendee ID. So based on these two common columns which I'm having in the attendees table and the registrations table, I'm simply combining them on inner join, right? So let's click on OK. So now I have the attendee ID, the name, the registration date, the participation level, and then we do have the registration, right? So if I expand this, and if I were to expand this and let's say click over here, these are the columns that would be displayed, right? So let's click on OK, and these are the corresponding details. So we have the registrations, then the attendee ID, then the registration time, then we do have the registration amount, right? So these are the details that we are getting. So this is attendees and the registrations. So likewise, this is how we can even let's say apply the corresponding transformations. Then we can proceed with the filtering, the splitting, and let's say even the combining of the tables using the Power Query. So guys, that brings us to the end of this session. So let's switch to the PPT. So guys, in this session we have seen how to transform the columns in Power Query. Let's say including extracting new features, including maybe combining existing features, including let's say the filtering, the sorting, and even the splitting. We have seen besides this, we have seen the filtering and the splitting of columns as well. So in the next session, essentially we'll be concentrating on, let's say, the merging of the queries and appending of the queries, appending of tables and merging of the tables. Thank you.